Hi all. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Punish.
Okay, so any question on cities or soft delete, any other engine? Anything you want to discuss? Any confusion? No. Mhm. So, sheet. I think this is the one we were discussing yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay. So any question, guys, on soft delete, cities, anything? No. Okay. Then let's okay, so any confusion on that assignment which I had given yesterday? Any question which you want to discuss? No? Okay, quickly I will go through that. So hope you all have access to that question. So the first question was the question. Okay. We have the question. First question was we have same job to load data in different layers in ETL project. Is this correct? True or false?
False.
False. Because we have different jobs to load data at different layers in the ETL project because in different layers we have different logic. So to implement different logic, we used to have different jobs. Okay. So don't think that one job will load data in all the layers. Okay. Okay, tell me one thing. Suppose I have a job to load data from source file to stage, okay? And the job name is job A. And then I have another job to load data from stage to integration layer. The job name is job B, okay? So I have run the job and job A has failed because of any reason, okay? Job A has failed because of any reason. So it is like when I was loading the data from source file to stage, the job A has failed. Okay. So what will happen to job B? Job B will be triggered or it will not trigger?
It will not trigger.
Will not trigger. Why?
Yeah. Because in the staging layer, data will not present.
Correct. So even if in the staging layer data is present, maybe of the previous day, data will be present in the staging layer. Okay. So the job B should not run if the job A has failed because all the jobs they follow a hierarchy. Okay. So if the job which loads the data in staging has failed because of any reason, then the job which will load data from the stage to integration layer must also fail. Okay. Otherwise, that will not load the correct data. So they should follow a hierarchy. Okay, second question was ETL and ELT are the same methodology to load and transform data? Are the same or different?
Different.
They are different. Why they are different? Who will tell me?
Uh,
Come on, guys.
First,
Why
we are
they are different?
extracting, transforming, and after that, loading the data into access layer. Here,
Mhm.
first, after loading the data into the access layer, and we are transforming the data.
Correct. In ETL, we are extracting then transforming the data and then loading it. But in ELT, we are extracting and loading. We are dumping the data. We are not bothered about the sources. We are just dumping the data from all the sources. But in ETL, we are very much specific. We know the sources and we load those data only. But in ELT, we are loading all the data. So that's why they both are different. Okay. Then the next question was, which of the following schema is more normalized? Star schema and snowflake schema. So please make a note of this. I have mentioned more normalized. I'm not telling that
Yeah,
star schema is not normalized. Star schema is also normalized, but snowflake schema is more normalized. Okay.
yeah.
The fourth question is, in soft delete, we permanently delete record from a stage table. No, we don't permanently delete record from a stage table. We will just silently mark it as N. Okay. But record will be there. But we will not receive the same record from the source team, or in the source file, the same record will not be present. Question 5, which of the following stores the measures of the derived column? So many of you have committed mistake here. The measures means the column, calculative column, or the column which is giving you transactional data, okay, or derived column, the column which you are deriving. Those are stored in facts, okay. Dimension will store only your indicative information, or you can tell your personal information like my name, my address, my qualification, my total years of experience, the company in which I work. So these informations will be in dimension table, but my salary structure, my bonus, my increment, and all those things will be in fact table. Okay. So sixth question is table personal stores information about employee address, name, employee ID, name, address, and contact details. So this personal table is a dimension table or fact table?
Dimension table.
Dimension table. Why?
Because name, address, all the fully information is presented in the dimension.
Correct. They all are indicative information, so these are stored
Yeah.
in dimension table. And table salary stores basic information about salary, increment, percentage increment, bonus. So this is dimensional fact table. So salary is a factable
Factor.
because here we have the basic information about salary. You can see salary is there. This is like transaction data or your measures, increment percentage increment percentage increment. So how you will calculate percentage increment? You have to do some calculation, right? So you are doing calculation. So it means those data will be factable. So salary is a factable here. Question number 8, which of the following table is located at the center of a star or snowflake schema? So I think this is very simple. Fact table I have shown you in the diagram as well. Fact table is located at the center. In which of the following use cases soft delete should be used? Again, few of you have committed mistake here. So soft delete is used for history tracking and for audit purpose as well. So the option is all of the above. So soft delete is used for both the purpose, history tracking and audit purpose. Audit purpose, why I mentioned audit purpose is sometimes you have stored the data, okay, and after 1 month or 2 months there is some discrepancy in the data, okay, or you want to do some, there means the transaction is missing. So what you will do, you will go back and you will do the audit. You will check the where the transaction is missing, where the transaction is more, where it is less. So that is like for audit purpose as well. We used to keep those data. So it is needed for audit purpose as well and for receipt tracking as well. Question number 10. Facts and dimensions can be joined using primary and foreign key relationship. Most of you have done this correct. So this is true. They can be joined using primary key and foreign key relationship. So I think this is clear. Any question, anyone on this three things on the question assignments? Okay, if you don't have any question, no issues. So we have discussed SCD1, SCD2, soft delete, and I hope these concepts are very clear. And these are really very, very important concepts from ETL perspective. You should know that. And in interviews, they will ask these questions as well. Okay. Now coming to SCD type 3. SCD type 3 or SCD3. Okay. What is this? Let's try to understand this one. Let's try to understand this one. Okay, let me take from here. Fine. So guys, my voice is audible, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tanvi.
Fine. So suppose on 11th of December 2021, I have received this set of data from source team. Okay. And the same data I have loaded in your staging table. Okay. Hope this is clear. Fine. Now on 12th of December, what happened? 12th December, what happened? We have received some data from source team, but suppose the location has changed from Delhi to Mumbai. Okay. Until December, the location has changed from Delhi to Mumbai. Okay. Now, when you will do the job, so initially three what will happen? That's what we have to understand here. Okay. So employee ID will be there, and name will be there. Now, here's the twist. Hope you guys understood what I'm trying to do here. Anyone who understood? No.
It will maintain previous and current location stage.
Right. So it will save the data like this. The employee A, previous location was Delhi, and current location is Mumbai. Okay, and then similarly, you can populate this columns. Active flag will always be white. So from this as well, you can track a history that okay, previously he was in Delhi, now he's in Mumbai. And for this, okay, and for all this implies it will be same, and this column will be sorry, this will be here. Current location, previous location, they both are same. So these values will be same here, or sometime they will keep it as a null. So whatever it may be. So you will understood if even if the value is populated, you will understand that okay, they both are same. It means that location has not changed, or sometimes they will keep it as a null as well. All this is clear, guys. So this is known as SAD type 3. Any question on this? Now suppose on 13th December 2021, same employee source file. Now assume again the location of A has changed from Mumbai to Goa. Okay, you learn the job to load data in a stage. Now what will happen?
Mumbai, Goa. Previous location is Mumbai, current location is Goa.
Okay, so this Mumbai will shift here,
Yeah.
and you will mention Goa here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also correct. Okay, but here it depends to which level you want to see the history. If you want to see the history of n minus 1 only, it means the last location only. So you'll maintain data like this. Okay. But if the requirement is that no, I want to maintain the location, I want to maintain the history of n minus 1 and n minus 2 n minus 2 location as well. So in that case, you have to create one more column here. And this is previous location, current location. We will give some name. So just a random name I'm giving, previous location 2. So this is previous location 2. This is the previous location 1. And this will be your current location. Okay. So this will become your Delhi. This will be Mumbai. And this will be Goa. Okay. And so this implies this will remain as it is. Same. It means the location has not changed. Imply B is Kolkata only. Okay, and similarly, you can populate the remaining columns. They will be same, no confusion here. Okay, so here you can see that we have maintained the history of n-1 and n-2 location as well. So currently he is in Goa. Before Goa, he was in Mumbai. Before Mumbai, he was in Delhi. Okay, so this we used to do when we have constraint or when we have sure about that level of history. Okay, generally if you want to go for 5 levels or 6 levels, then we don't prefer this SCD3. This is just only when you want to see, okay, just what was the last location and the current location, or last to last location and the current location. In that way, we used to maintain history in the city type 3. Is this clear, guys?
Yeah, clear.
This is
Yeah.
again very simple. So, but generally, when we are not sure and when you want to maintain the history of all the locations, so in that case, which one you will follow, SCD2 or SCD3?
SCD2.
SCD2. When you want to maintain all the history, you have to go for SCD2. When you want to maintain history of only last location or last to last location, so in that case, we used to go for SCD3. And and I prefer this one because here, no, it is more easy to understand and correlate as compared to SCD2, right? You have only one record, and from this you can compare easily. Fine. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now, so this was all about SCD1, SCD2, SCD3, and then sorted we have discussed. Now, moving to the next one, table structure validation. So, what is the table structure validation? Like when, as a tester, when the developer has scripted a table, so it is not like directly you have to validate the data, but before that, you should validate the structure of the table. Okay. The structure in the sense column naming validation as per the mapping sheet. So guys, you have a mapping sheet. In the mapping sheet, no. So the business analyst will share a mapping sheet with you, and that mapping sheet will give you information about the table name and column name, the data type and data size. It is mandatory or not. Okay, like all those informations will be there. Just for the simplicity, I will suppose that this is the mapping sheet. Okay, suppose this is a mapping sheet. So the business analyst will give you that, okay, we have a table of the name employee underscore stage. This is the name of a table. Okay. In this table, you have columns, data, type, size, mandatory, optional, like this. Okay. So columns, first column is employee ID. Data type should be number or integer, whatever you want, you can keep it. Okay. If you have any size, you can mention the size as well here. It is mandatory. Employee ID is a mandatory column. Yes, it is mandatory. So do I. Okay. And then the second column name is name. So maybe it will be varchar2. Suppose the size is 20. It is mandatory. So yeah, it is mandatory. Then you have salary. Varchar2. Maybe it will, sorry, salary will be integer, no? Integer or number, whatever it may be. So like that, all the column details, all the column names, their data type, size, it is mandatory or not, these informations will be there in mapping sheet. Okay. And they will, the business analyst will share with you. So once the developer has developed, coded the table. They have created the table. So you have to first of all check this that the column naming is correct or not. The same name is not there now. If it is, if they have mentioned EMP ID, it should be EMP ID only. It should not be employee ID. Okay, so you have to test all these things as well. Data type is correct or not. The size is correct, but if it is mandatory, so it is the mandatory or not. No, is it clear? Okay, so suppose I have mentioned here employee ID is a mandatory. Okay, so how you will test this? That this is mandatory or not? How you will test this?
In the filter column, filter clause where employee ID is not null.
Filter column employee
Select
ID.
star from
Oh,
table
okay.
name where employee ID is not null.
Okay, so you will write select star from
Star from table
employee underscore stage where employee ID.
is not null.
I think you should give is null, right? So if you're giving is null and if
Yeah,
records
yeah, yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
coming,
yeah, yeah,
correct, no?
yeah,
If
yes,
you're
yes,
giving employee ID is null and suppose if the records are coming, so what it means?
yeah. Then
So it is
we
allowing blank employee IDs.
Sorry, you received 10 records. So
So,
what it means?
so it allows
means
blank
Uh,
employee ID.
it means the in employee ID column we have null records. So it's a defect or not?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, defect.
It's a defect. You will raise a defect, right? Okay, perfect. Now
Yeah,
suppose you have run this query, select a staff or employee side where employee ID is null and 0 records are retrieved. Now is this a defect or not?
zero
It's not a
records.
difference.
No,
It's not a
it's
defect
not a
because in
defect.
employee ID column we don't have null records and this was the expectation that
Any
employee ID is
employee.
a mandatory column. Null value should not be there. So this is correct, right? But suppose, okay, so far you guys understood now. It is clear, right? Okay. Now suppose I have executed this query on this table, and of course in this table we don't have null or blank. So this will give me 0 records, and we will think that okay, the developer has coded this employee ID as a mandatory column, and that's a null value is not there. Okay, but this doesn't means that developer has coded this as a mandatory column because in this table you don't have null value. Okay, so how you will test this? You have to insert a null record in this employee ID. Okay, you have to insert null into this employee ID column. And then you should check whether it is accepting the null or not. Generally, most of the testers will do mistake here. They will write this query and they will think that, okay, no records are page. It means in this column, we don't have any null records. That you don't have to test whether in this column null record is there or not. No, you have to test that this employee ID column is accepting null or not. You got my question? You have to test whether it is accepting
Yeah, yeah.
null or not. So
Negative
intentionally,
scenario.
negative scenario, correct. So intentionally, you have to insert a null record in this employee ID column, okay? And then it should not accept it. It should throw you an error message that employee ID cannot hold null value because it is a mandatory column. Okay, so you should test like that. If you are testing like this, so this is also correct, but this will just confirm that employee ID column null value is there or not. But you have to test whether it is accepting null or not. You see, storing is a different thing and accepting is a different thing. Okay, the storing is a different thing and accepting is a different thing. Suppose a government officer, okay, government officer, he doesn't have black money. So it doesn't means that in future or in past, if there is a scope of black money, he will not take black money. You got it? That's a different scenario. Maybe right now he don't have black money. He doesn't have black money, but maybe next day, if there is some opportunity of black money, maybe he will accept it. That's a different thing. So that's what we have to test, whether he is accepting or not. All this is clear, guys. So you
Yeah,
should,
clear.
yeah, you should test like this. Okay, you should not just check in the column that okay, null is there or not, and okay, null is not there. It means this is perfect. No, if someone is trying to inject null records into this column, it should not accept it. All this is clear. Okay, yeah. So you have to test data type and size validation. You have to test this as well. Null, not null validation. Okay. So how you will check all those things? Because in a table you have maybe 10 columns, 20 columns, and all those things. So how you can check is just you have a command, DSC. I think you know this. Describe command. Describe employee underscore stage, and this describe command will describe the structure of this table, and then from there you can validate it. Mandatory and optional column validation. Check constraints. What is check constraint? Okay, we'll see in the next slide. So what is check constraints? Okay. Domain values validation. What is domain values? What is domain values, guys? Okay. Domain values means suppose if the business has told you that in department column, domain values, or yeah, leave this department. Suppose I have one more column, gender. Okay. And the business analyst has told that the gender should be either M or F. Okay. Gender should be either M or F. Suppose I have a gender column here. Now tell me, is this correct or not? Is this correct?
No, it should either be M or F.
Perfect. Because the business analyst has told me that gender must be either M or F. But here we have mentioned as male and female, although they both have the same meaning. But if it has been agreed that I want M or F, then it should be either M or F. So it means this is known as domain values. Okay, like that you should check this as well. Or maybe if they have mentioned the department should be either tech, sales, HR, operations, or research. Okay, then your department should store only these values. Department should store only these values. This value should be there. By mistake, suppose by mistake, or maybe you got here a revenue. So this is a mistake. This is a defect. Why a department is accepting this revenue? They should not accept the revenue. Even if source team is sending this, your table should not accept this. Are you getting my point? No, you're not getting. See, department should accept the data only from these domains: tech, sales, HR, operations, and research. And suppose on a particular day in the source file, the source team has sent me this data of revenue. Suppose this is revenue. Okay. Now, if I will run the job to load data in a stage, so a stage should load this data or not?
It should not.
The stage job should not load this data because it has been agreed that if any other department is coming apart from this, those data will not be loaded in the stage. Sorry, here it is a stage. No, it will not be loaded in the stage table. So that's why even if source team is sending you those data, your code should handle it that no, I will not load this data of revenue department because it has been agreed that I will load data of these departments only. Okay, so why this happen? Sometimes no, you have confidential data. Okay, so in those confidential data, so business they don't want to store it in database. So that's why they will restrict that. Okay, I don't want this data of this particular region of this particular department to be loaded in your database. So these are known as domain values. So you should check this as well. Guys, this is clear, or you guys are confused? I'm not getting any response, so I'm getting confused. So
Yeah, clear, clear.
it's clear.
Yeah.
Tanvir, one quick question, like with
Sure.
respect to the size validation.
Mhm.
Suppose the employee ID size is like 3, and we are getting the employee ID size is 4, means whether it will trim the size to 3 or it will not accept.
Correct. Very good question. Suppose employee ID is mentioned as 3, okay, and someone has sent the employee ID as 4, means 4 character size, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 character size. So ideally, they should not load this data at all. But generally, when you will see, it will truncate this and you will get data as 1, 2, 3. But ideally, it should not store this data at all. Okay, and it will throw you an error message that this cannot be stored because this is a 4 character size and the actual size is only 3 characters. This should not store this data. Okay, or better, it should reject the entire record, because if it will reject the entire record, you will get a notification in that log table or audit table. Because what happens now, if you are passing this 1, 2, 3, 4 employee ID, okay, and a given size as 3, so what will happen? 1, 2, 3 will be loaded in your staging table, and you will not be getting any notification. Are you getting my point? So you will think that okay, data has been loaded, but here data has been truncated actually. And that's why when you're loading data from source file to stage, you should check the data as well. You should not only check the count, you must check the data as well. So to answer your question, so ideally this, if this is a scenario, the record should be rejected. The entire record should not be loaded if there is any discrepancy in any of the column. Okay.
Thanks.
Very good. Guys, these points are seems to be very simple, but these are very important points. And in each and every points what I'm discussing, so we have observed, we have discovered defects in each and every points. Okay, and that's why we have included these points in this slides. Okay, these are very, very important points. So after this, domain values, primary key and foreign key validation. You should validate the primary key and foreign key as well. Now, the coming slides, we will discuss about check constraints validation. What is this? Any question on this slide? This is very important. I believe this is very, very important slide from testing perspective. And many of the testers, they ignore this. They think that this is simple.
Tanvir,
Mhm.
actually that mapping sheet is same as that document, source target document, or a different one?
Mapping sheet will be different. Mapping sheet is totally different. It will be in this format. The format I have mentioned you, it will be in this format. Okay, and that will be mostly in Excel sheet. Your FRD requirement document will be different. In that requirement document, they will only mention the requirement, the calculations, number of source files, format of source files, okay, from how many sources will get data, but the structure of table, how many tables will be there. So all these things will be shared in an Excel sheet. This will be generally in an Excel sheet, and this will be different from the requirement document. Maybe they will attach this in requirement document. That's a different case. Okay, I'm not commenting on that, but your mapping sheet is totally different sheet, and your requirement sheet is totally different sheet. Okay.
STM document means the same as this one, like the business transformations will be mentioned here only, or what?
That will be in like generally they will have a Microsoft Word, and that they will mention that okay, this is the requirement, this is the calculation you have to do. You should get data from this much number of sources. Data should be incremental or not. You should get full load data. Okay, all those things they will mention in the FRD. That will be mostly in MS Word, or in some project they will maintain that in conference link as well. If you have conference link in the project, so they will share on that link as well. But your mapping sheet is like this Excel sheet, and that they will maintain like this. Exactly, this is the format: column names, data type, size, mandatory or not, domain values, and all those things.
Okay, with this one is prepared by a business analyst.
Business analyst, yeah, yeah. This will be prepared by business analyst, and business analyst will prepare this based on the discussion with the business stakeholders. Developers will not prepare this. No, not at all. That's why I told you in the beginning, the testers should never interact with the developers regarding requirement. Okay, regarding requirement. If you think that okay, this is mandatory or not, so you are confused, so you will go and ask the developers. No, you should not ask the developers. As a tester, you must ask the questions on the business analyst or the business stakeholders. Okay. Any
Yeah.
other question? So this is the format of mapping sheet. It will be like this only. Maybe that depends on project to project. Little bit deviation will be there, but generally, in most of the projects I have seen, it is like this only. They'll maintain like this only. Okay. Okay, fine. So now the next is the check constants. What are the check constants? This is very important. Very, very, very important. Okay. See, most of the defects come because of this. If the developers will code all these conditions perfectly in the table level now, so the issues, most of the issues will not come. So what happened? Developers take this in a very light way. So they will think that this are very simple, they will not impact anything. And that's why because of this, many issues will come in the production as well. And as tester as well, you should test the scenarios at the very beginning. That will save your effort. So these are the check constants. Like you can see this table is structure. Okay, I have created a table. Pets table I have created, and I have a column ID. and data type is int. I have mentioned not null. So this not null means this is a constraint. Now given a constraint that ID is a mandatory column, not null. See, so this should be the constraint. Okay. So if developer has coded this, the ID as a not null. So even if you will try to insert null records now, this ID will not accept it. It will throw you an error message that I cannot accept null records. So you should validate this. This is not a check constraint. Again on name column, not null. So it means name is again a mandatory. You should check this. These are known as constraints. Like here you can see gender. So here I mentioned that gender should accept the domain values as either male, female, or unknown. Okay, so if someone is trying to insert gender M, now tell me what will happen.
It should not take ideally.
It should not take that value. So I
Yeah.
have asked the same question in the last batch that okay, how you will check that the gender is accepting those domain values or not. So that particular in that batch, he has that particular guy has mentioned that I will write a query. I mentioned like I write a query like this. Sorry. Select the star from pets where sorry. I'm expecting guys you all know all these basic commands of SQL, but still if you think you don't know, you can ask me. Okay. Male, female, and okay. So if you want to check whether this gender is accepting this male, female, or not, so I've asked this question, and someone has told me that he will get this query. Like start from pets, where gender not in male, female, unknown. And he told that if I'm not getting any output from this, it means it has been coded correctly. And if I'm getting any output, it means it is not coded correctly. Now tell me, is this correct response?
No,
By
And
we need to check
also we need to
by
perform
inserting the value.
intentionally,
Sorry?
inserting the value, negative testing.
Inserting the value.
Negative testing. Maybe the gender, as of now, they have mentioned male, female, and unknown. Maybe correctly they have inserted this record. But what is the guarantee that next time if someone is trying to insert gender as M, it will not accept it? Okay, that guarantee I want. So how you will guarantee that? So you will try to insert a record with gender as M, and the expectation is the table pets should not accept that value. So that is negative testing. That's what the perfect testing. You should test in that way. Because maybe as of now they have inserted only male, female, and unknown. But suppose next day, source team, instead of male, they have written by mistake as M. Okay, they thought that okay, male and M they both are same. People know, right? People generally know means M for male and M for female. So what will happen? So you should check that whether your system is accepting or not. Okay. And the system should not accept that value. Is this clear, guys? You are understanding the importance of negative testing. That's what I want to highlight here.
Yeah, understand.
Any question? So please, if you're working in your project, please try to implement these concepts, this tips or techniques, whatever you will call in your project. So this will give you an exceptional reputation, believe me. Okay, for these things you should know. Okay, now coming to the next one. So these are known as check constraints. You should check this ones as well. This is a domain values example.
Convey quick
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So, this question is with respect to the previous which we discussed. Like, suppose, like with the departments, we seen like a new department called revenue has been included in the table. So, previously we discussed, yeah. So in that scenario, do we need to check again with the BA team whether any new revenue department has been added, or because they would have missed map update in the mapping document, or it's, you have to check with the source team how it is included. So,
Correct. You are totally correct. Means sometime it can happen that they have included a new department in their organization, right? Or maybe if you're working on college database, so they have added a new department in their college, and it happens. Okay. In that case, first of all, what will happen? If you're getting, first of all, if you're getting any data apart from these departments, first of all, you should not accept it. Okay, the first rule, you should not accept it. But if you have discovered that, okay, source file has sent this record, okay, source file has sent this record, and this is not loaded in a staging table, because this was the expectation that this should not be loaded in a staging table. If this has not been loaded in a staging table, that is correct. Okay. But now, before answering your question, I have a question. If by mistake or purposely, suppose intentionally, a new department or revenue has been added, okay, and the source team has sent me this data, okay, and this has not been loaded in your stage, which is correct, because this was the expectation. But my question is, how you will come to know, how you will come to know that this record was rejected before getting loaded in a stage? How you will come to know this? This is the question. Who will answer this?
We are checking the log tables.
Perfect, very good. So always make a habit of checking the log tables. So log table will tell you that this particular record was rejected. Okay. And then the log table should give you the reason as well. There must be a reason that why this record was rejected. Then the message will tell that the department is apart from this departments, or it will show you message like department is not a valid department. Okay. Then you will think that, okay, someone has, the source has sent me department revenue. Then you can go back to the business analyst and you can ask him that, okay, I have received a new record with the name with the from revenue department, okay, but we have not accepted that, loaded that in a stage, because that is not allowed. But question is, do you want us to load the data from revenue as well down the line? Do you think this is a new department? Okay. Then the business analyst will check with the business stakeholders. Okay, now there are two scenarios. The first one is maybe the new department revenue they have added recently. So maybe they will tell you that yes, this is a new department. So you should accept data from this department as well. Then this will be an enhancement. So this will be given to development team. They will add this in their coding part. So now the department should accept revenue as well. Okay. So if any data is coming from revenue, should be loaded in your stage. This is the one thing, one scenario. So from tomorrow onwards, if you're getting in data from revenue department, that must be loaded in your stage. I hope this is clear. Now, the second scenario is the business analyst will go to the business stakeholder, and business stakeholder will tell that no, revenue is a very highly confidential data. We don't want to reveal this data. So please don't load this data in a stage. Please don't load this data in a stage, even if someone is sending you this in source file. Okay, you got both the scenarios.
yes.
Okay, perfect. So, but ideally, source team should not send a confidential or restricted data. So this is a defect at source team as well, because once it has happened in our project, It was because I was working in the finance project and data were very, very critical data, sensitive data. So those data we used to calculate the total assets and all those things. Okay. So it was agreed with the source team that you will not send some very personal data of the customers or the clients, but by mistake they have sent it, and we have noted that in our stage. That was a big mistake. Okay, we have not checked that whether our code is handling this confidential data or not. That was loaded in the stage, and you know what happened? Finally, it moved to the production, and it was visible on the reports. Big blunder happened. Then the business stakeholder they have raised a concern that why this number is coming in critical sensitive information of customer is coming on the report. Then we started analyzing it, and then we found that okay, this was sent by the source team. So now tell me, whose mistake is this? Source team or development team?
Development team.
Okay. Anyone else?
So
See,
development team as well as the testing team also.
yeah, this is the mistake of source team, development team, and testing team. They both are responsible for this. Why I'm telling source team? Because if it has been agreed that you should not send me the revenue data, then source team should not send the revenue data. But but you cannot be excused by giving this reason that okay, that source team has sent this data, that's why we have loaded this. This is not our mistake. No, no one will accept it because the business stakeholder will tell that already we have mentioned you that don't accept the data of revenue. Even if source team has sent that, why you have not catch that in your code? Correct? No, anyone will ask this question, right? Project manager can also ask this question that you should accept that in your code. Why you have not given that condition in your code? So this is a mistake of development side as well. Okay, one thumb rule. Source team has all the rights to commit mistake. Okay, so you should not only trust on the source that okay, if it has been agreed that we should not receive revenue data, so it means the source will not send revenue data. No, they can send, but your code must be have that much capability that it should handle those scenarios. Now it is a mistake of testing team as well. If this is the only domain values, revenue is not there, then you should check this by inserting a revenue data. The testing team has told that we have not received any revenue data. We have tested it. Revenue data was not there earlier. Now next the revenue data has came. That's why it was inserted. So that's what he has not done the negative testing. You should try to insert a revenue data and check whether the table is accepting or not. Hope this is clear.
Yeah,
So
clear.
So as a tester, you should apply your checks, your bodyguards, your security guards at each and every level. Okay.
So Tanvir, like when we
Mhm.
have this revenue, for example, the revenue department has been included. So
Mhm.
do we discuss these things during the agile meeting, daily stand-up call, or we will be writing an email accordingly?
No, no, this, suppose, yeah, you're correct. Suppose the next day we have received this revenue data. So this should be discussed. So first of all the communications, whatever it may be, should be in email. No verbal communication. You are in a scrum meeting next day or the status call. Okay, and business analyst is there, program manager is there, and all those things there. And you have raised this concern that okay, I have received data of a revenue department in the source file, but in the stage it was not loaded. But my question to you, should we accept the revenue data? And suppose the business stakeholder, business analyst has told that yeah, this is a new department, please accept it. Or maybe the business analyst has told that no, you should not accept it. Then on verbal communication, you should not go ahead. You have to drop an email to the business analyst that hi ABC, as discussed, that revenue we have received data from revenue department, and you have confirmed that this is a new department, so you should accept this data. then please provide your acceptance on this, or please do the needful or whatever it may be. So you should drop an email, and on that email, the business analyst has to acknowledge it. Then you have to proceed, and that email has to be attached in the FRD. Okay, or you should mark your business stakeholders as well on that. So all the requirements, or if any changes is there, any enhancement is there, that should be on email communication. Very, very, very important. There should be
So based
no.
on that, the business analyst will be updating the mapping document.
Ah,
Or
correct, correct, correct. Very good, very good. He will update the mapping document as well. Okay. If in the email, if he has acknowledged, so that is also not sufficient. He has to update the mapping document and FRD document wherever it is applicable. They have to update the documents as well. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Is that clear?
yeah, okay, thank you.
Perfect. Very good question. So always, whenever you are working in any project, or if you're going to work in project on the line now, so all your communication, maybe it is with developers, business analysts, for example, program manager, or whomever it may be, that should be emails only. So that will be a proof as well. Okay, perfect. Good discussion. So this was all about check constraints, and I think you all have understood the importance of negative testing. You should not only fire queries and you'll think that okay, I'm not getting any data, so it means everything is correct. No, you should try to insert records. That's why I mentioned SIT environment, SIT, SIT, system integration testing is the playground of testers. You should do whatever you want. You can create table, you should have insert access and all those things. Okay, now the next one, this is again same slide. So here the constraint is like age greater than equal to 17. So age must be greater than equal to 17. So how you will test this scenario?
Negative scenario. Insert intentionally we are inserting the data
Which
below
data?
less than 17.
Intentionally
Age
you have to insert age less than 17.
17.
Okay, maybe we'll insert 16, 15, something like that. Okay, and you have to check how it is behaving. Fine. Queries to find constraints in a table. So these are few of the queries. Okay, like select the star from all constraints. So if you're working on Oracle SQL developer, so Microsoft SQL Server, sorry, I have not checked this. So those who are working on Microsoft SQL Server, you can try this there as well. I think this should work. Okay, but on a very high level, if you want to see that on a particular table, what all constraints are there, so you should try this query. Okay, select a star from all constraints where table name is equal to employee or paid or salary, whatever it is. You should, if you will execute this query, no, so it will give you what all constraints is there on a table. Select a star from user constraints where table name is equal to. So these two queries you can use, and this will tell you what all constraint has been implemented on a particular table. Okay. So now when you will execute that query, no, you will get this kind of output. Okay, so you can see here I mentioned the table name as employee. If you have any other table, you can write that table name. This will be the output. So the select a star from user constraint with table name is equal to employee. Okay, and this is the output. So this is telling that in employee table, the search, this is null. Employee ID greater than 50. This is the one constraint. Gender should be M or F. So here I mentioned gender is M or F. So if someone has inserted male, so that should throw an error message. Employee ID is not null. So employee ID is a mandatory column. Guys, is this clear? Are you understanding? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, clear.
Clear, no? Okay. So you should try this all things. Or you will validate duplicate records. Yeah. Very important question from interview perspective as well. They will ask that duplicate records and all these things. Okay. So generally it is expected that the table should not contain duplicates. Okay, table should not contain duplicates. So how you will assure that your table duplicate records are not there? Come on, I will tell you.
By writing the queries, having
Okay.
count of target.
Okay, good. You will write a query. So I think you all know a query. So suppose in this table, if employee ID is your primary, first of all, you have to find primary column or composite primary column. Okay. Then you can write a query like select employee ID or star, whatever you want. You can write select employee ID from employee table having count of a star greater than one group by. Okay, someone has asked me yesterday that having should be after group by, but I have told that you can do both the ways. You can keep having at the last in group by here and now and both the ways. Have you tried that? If you have not tried, try it. They both will give you the same result. That will not throw any error message. Okay. This is the query you should use to check duplicates are there or not. Is this sufficient? No, you should do negative testing here. Intentionally, you should insert a record again with employee ID 1 and you should check whether it is accepting it or not. So, at which stage you should validate duplicate records? Which stage?
Staging.
You should ideally validate duplicates at a staging, integration, and access layer. But you are correct. If duplicates are not there in the staging, the chances are there in integration it will not be there, and access as well it will not be there. But that's not the case, guys. Sometimes what happens in a stage, duplicates are not there, but in integration layer you will see duplicate records are there. There are many reasons for that, but it happens. Okay, so that's why you should check at each and every layer. Okay, stage, integration, and access layer as just for a safer side. I know someone can counter this that then we it is not possible that in access layer you will have duplicate records. But the answer is yes, it is possible, but the chances are very less, maybe less than 1%. But you should check it, you should check it, you should test that. Okay, the duplicate should be tested at each and every layer. The very common interview question, they will try to confuse you. Okay, and you will give the answer like in the staging layer or something like that. No, you should check duplicates at each and every layer. The chances are more in the stage, but no one can tell that if in a stage you don't have duplicates, integration duplicates will not be there. No, in integration you can have duplicates. There are many reasons for that. Okay. Do you think duplicate record validation and deduplication are the same concept? Who will answer this? I think I have covered this deduplication, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what do you think? Duplicate and deduplication, they both are same or different?
Different.
They both are different. I
Different.
think I have covered this. Anyone who wants me to repeat this? Duplicate and deduplication, please say.
Deduplication is nothing but duplication plus unique val, I think. Oh.
Duplication plus unique. Okay. Suppose I have this record. This is example of source file. Okay. So this record, and this record, they are duplicates, correct?
Yeah.
So this is an example of duplicate record. Okay. Now let's try to understand what is deduplicate. Okay. Now same information, employee ID, name, location, department, salary. All things are almost same, but one is present in HR database, another one is present in recruitment database. Now tell me, they are duplicate or not? Hello, are they duplicates?
Yeah, it is not duplicate.
This is not duplicate. This is an example of
Yeah.
deduplication. Why deduplication? Because there might be some requirement in an organization, okay, and they are maintaining their employee information in HR database, and the same information is maintained in the recruitment database as well. Okay, and suppose you are working in a project in which you have to test that the HR database and recruitment database they are in sync or not. Okay, and if there is some differences, like here you can see there's a difference, then what is the reason? There might be valid reason. Okay, there might be valid reason. So here you can see in HR database, employee A salary is 100, but in recruitment database, employee A salary is 1110. Okay, so don't think that recruitment database is incorrect or HR database is incorrect. No, sometimes what happens? No, they both are correct, but they are showing you some different data. Maybe HR database is showing you base salary, and recruitment database is showing you base salary plus bonus. So in that case, they both are correct or not? They both are correct. But if you will see this one, you will tell that no, Tanvir, this is duplicate data. This is not duplicate data. Maybe employee B, he has not received any bonus. Okay. So deduplication means you will get the same data, maybe same or maybe different data from two different sources. The other source is HR database. The other source is recruitment database. Okay. So someone will tell that no, this is duplicate. No, this is not duplicate. This is coming from two different sources. Now the question is why? Why same data I'm getting from different sources? The reason is they are giving me different information sometime because here A has received bonus and that's why salary is 1110. But here B has not received bonus. So salary is 101 and same here 101. Okay. So this is known as deduplication. The information you're getting from two different sources. So they might be same or they might not be same. Both the cases are there. But if you're loading this in your database, maybe in your employee staging table, you should not load both this. Please remember this very important concept. If you're going to load this data, you should not load both the data. You should not load like this, that okay, this information is coming from HR database. Let's load this one. And this is coming from different database. Let's load this one as well. No, you should not load like this. So here we have to follow a priority. They will give you a priority that, okay, if the same data is coming from both the database, there is no confusion. Like this one, employee B information is same. Okay. But if there is a conflict, like see, here is a conflict with employee A, salary is 100, salary is 1110. Which one should we load? 100 or 110 or both? Come on, guys. Which one should I load in our staging table?
Only one record, either 100 or 110,
Either
but
100
not
or
both.
110. If I will
110.
load both the records, then the user will confuse that the employee A is earning how much salary, 100 or 110. They will be confused, right? But that's why you should load only one record. Now the question is, should I load data from HR database or recruitment database? So whenever there is a conflict, you have to understand the priority, and this will be set by the business stakeholders. They will give priority like, first of all, try to store from recruitment and then from HR database. So in this case, so which data you will load here? First priority is recruitment. Recruitment database saying that employee A is earning 1110. So you have to load this one 1110. Correct? This record should not be loaded. Is this clear, guys? Understood this one?
Yeah, clear.
So this is the concept of deduplication. Hope this is clear. Okay. Any question? No questions. Let us SQL query to fetch duplicate records. Okay, I think you know this query. Parity duplication. Okay, so let's stop here. So from this query onwards, we will see tomorrow. I think today is Wednesday. Uh, I am planning to finish this by Friday, but a total is 137 slides. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so I will try to finish this in coming 2 days, but I will not rush. Let's see how it goes. Okay, fine, guys. If you don't have any question, I will share one more assignment today. That will be in Google Forms only. So try to answer those questions. I will discuss it tomorrow. Okay, fine. Take care. Bye.